Hi, I'm Doug Keck, and this is an EWTN Bookmark Brief. Just had the great pleasure of speaking with my good friend, Father Robert Spitzer, about his latest book, Escape from Evil's Darkness, The Light of Christ in the Church, Spiritual Conversion and Moral Conversion, of course, available through our EWTN religious catalog, EWTNRC.com. It's all things Catholic. Now, tell us about where this book fits into your trilogy.
It's basically the second book of the trilogy on contending with evil. And so the first book is about talking about Christ versus Satan, talks about the dynamics of how Christ manifests himself and how Satan manifests himself, how Satan's tactics work, how Christ's counter tactics work. And so then we move right now into the second volume, Escape from Evil's Darkness. We're really talking about a plan of action for spiritual and moral conversion, first through the church, then through spiritual conversion, which is the sacraments and prayer, and then through moral conversion, which is the appropriation of virtue, and also the transformation into the new person, the new man.
And one of the big things you deal with right up front is, first of all, why do we need church, a church, and certainly then why do we need the Catholic Church?
So, why do we need a church? Pretty simple. We are interpersonal persons, and we definitely not only pray all by ourselves, we pray with a community. We're supported by a community. That's very important. Secondly, the sacraments are truly important. These are conduits of grace. They're for the community, but of course they deeply affect us according to the will and the words of Jesus Christ. The third area, and by the way, the Eucharist and the Sacrament of Reconciliation are primary among those. The teaching authority of the Church, so important. Without it, we are bereft. We're left alone with our rationalizations, left alone with our intellectual inadequacies, and left alone, above all, with our ethical and moral inadequacies. And that's, of course, a disaster area for moving into the darkness. If you want to do that, stay alone and out, nobody accountable, no teaching that'll keep you on the straight path. And there are many other good reasons.
That's the powerhouse you get through the Catholic Church.
That's the powerhouse you get through the Catholic Church.
One other thing you touch on in the book, I just want to, you talk a lot about understanding the idea of the cross, the idea of suffering, and how that fits into salvation, at least from a Catholic perspective.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, with respect to salvation and the cross, I wrote a whole book about this, and light shines on in the darkness, transforming suffering through faith. But no church does it better than the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church recognizes that the whole objective of life is not to be suffering free. The whole objective in God's eyes of this life is to get us to heaven. And suffering helps us to get us to heaven in the context of faith. So if we've got a prayer life, if we have a life of faith and community within the Catholic Church, and then all of a sudden suffering becomes this great instrument, this means through which I purify my love, for which I'm challenged out of my superficiality, for which I have to allow Christ to grow stronger in me, but that means I have to grow weaker in order for him to grow stronger in me, in which of course I am needed by other people and other people are needed by me, and this is a great interpersonal context that helps in the purification. And above all, I mean, if you're going to grow in faith, vulnerability is going to be a real requirement.
Absolutely. Though it's an issue for many young people today, and that's why this book's important. Thank you so much, Father Spitzer. This has been an EWTN Bookmark Brief. Escape from Evil's Darkness, The Light of Christ in the Church, Spiritual Conversion, Moral Conversion. As I said, available through our catalog. Of course, look for the entire interview on demand and also in demand. And remember that look for the interview as well coming soon on the network. This has been an EWTN Bookmark Brief. Thanks for stopping by at the special edition here at the Napa Institute.